How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder. Let's talk about the Yankees once again, shall we? So, the segment title, the title below, whatever you want to call it, pretty simple, everyone. The Yankees are bad. The Yankees are bad right now. They are not playing good baseball. And that continued today, continued last night. I don't know what else to say. This team is playing its worst baseball of the season. As we flip the calendar to July, things have not changed. And to be quite honest with you, I don't know when it's going to change. We'll see what happens at the trade deadline. There are moves that have to be made, and we've been saying this constantly for weeks now as the trade deadline gets closer and closer. But, I mean, what we are watching right now is a team just trying to find it. And honestly, I don't even know if whatever moves they make the deadline are even going to help this team right now. Because a lot of the things that are going on right now, guys on this team have to produce and just have to play better baseball. You know, making one or two trades at the deadline, I don't think is going to fix a lot of the issues that this team has right now. When you look at some of the guys that are struggling on this team, you can't replace three guys that are just struggling and not hitting and not playing their position properly. You're not going to be able to do that. And as Yankee fans, not myself, but everybody expects everyone to be an all-star. I'm more realistic. And there's Yankee fans that are more realistic and say, listen, you don't have to be a superstar, but can you at least just do the simple things and be a productive player at the plate? Can you do that? But not only that, though, the bullpen has been horrible. In its last 4 games, the bullpen has an ERA north of 10. And once again, you saw the Yankees blow games late because the bullpen couldn't get the outs. Now, part of that was also because the defense didn't help out either. But again, a 10 ERA is a 10 ERA. There's no way around it. Mark Leiter Jr., we talked about Jazz Chisholm being a good pickup last year at the trade deadline. Mark Leiter Jr., although got big outs for us in the playoffs when Ian Hamilton went down, Mark Leiter Jr. was not a great pickup. Doesn't have overpowering stuff. He relies on location and having hitters chase after the off-speed pitch is low in the zone. He has not been good. Not good. But the other thing, too, is Yankees bullpen is also shorthanded. Fernando Cruz, who has been a reliable reliever for the Yankees this season, was on the IL once. He'll be going on the IL again, this time with an oblique strain, and it's pretty significant. He's going to be out for a while. So now this bullpen, which has struggled for weeks now, is even more thin. Losing a reliever in Fernando Cruz. So that's not good. Also, Trent Grisham tweaked his hamstring last night. Didn't play today. Don't know what the status is with him, if he's going to go to the IL. He might be able to avoid it. We'll see. And you also have Austin Wells dealing with a bit of an issue in his hand. He could be back tomorrow. We'll see. Ascara was catching the last 2 days. And speaking of JC Ascara, 2 catcher's interferences the last 2 days that played a huge role in the Yankees losing these 2 games. Last night, It happens right before Vlad Guerrero Jr. hits the 2-run single to take the lead. And then today, Yankees had to use 3 pitchers in 1 inning today. Between Mark Leiter Jr., Luke Weaver had to come into the game. And also, Yankees brought this guy up to replace Fernando Cruz on the roster, Jeff Hartlieb. 3 pitchers they had to use in the 7th inning. And if you missed the game, if you're wondering how Hartlieb did, 1 inning pitch, 2 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. But yeah, J.C. Escara, catcher's interference. Luke Weaver comes in with 2 guys on base, 1 out, strikes the batter out. You think that's the 2nd out of the inning, but not so fast. Blue Jays challenged the play for catcher's interference, and it was obvious that it was catcher's interference. Runner goes to first base, and then shortly after that, George Springer comes up, and he has tormented the Yankees over the years. Ernie Clement actually singled right after that, so they took the lead right after that. And then after that, George Springer comes up, already homered in this game off of Max Fried. He hits a grand slam and busts the game open. Blue Jays are up 9-4. They end up winning the game 12-5. Yankees actually out-hit the Blue Jays today, and they also lost last night 5-4. Max Fried, Carlos Rodon. For Carlos Rodon, didn't give the Yankees length. Only got through the 5th inning. Max Fried is very good coming off of a loss usually for the Yankees. They usually win. But what did I say before the game? I said the way the Yankees have been playing, there's no guarantee they're going to win. Max Fried did get through the 6th inning, but he gave up 4 earned runs, 3 hits. A couple of them were homers. Yankees went up 2-0. The Yankees were up early in both games. But ultimately, Blue Jays come back, take the lead. Yankees aren't able to come back. I mean, today, when they go down, 12-4 going into the 9th inning, they're not coming back from that anyways. But you figured when, the Yankees actually tied the game at 4 today, they were up 2-0, then they were down 4-2, then they tied the game off of 2 defensive miscues at third base and at first base for the Blue Jays. You figured, okay, let's see what happens. And then 5-run inning for the Blue Jays, and then 3 more tacked on in the bottom of the 8th. So, yeah, no chance. No chance. But for Max Fried, all right, you give up the home run to Springer. Okay. That's fine. But and then you get the next 2 outs. You get Vlad Guerrero Jr. to line out. You get Alejandro Kirk to pop out. So 2 outs. All right, cool. 1 more out. That was just a little bit minor slip up. But then Davis Schneider singles. You walk Miles Straw. And then Andres Jimenez, who the Blue Jays traded for from the Guardians, and he has not had a good year. I had him in one of my fantasy leagues. I dropped him. He was very disappointing. He was batting .199 going into this at-bat. And he hits a home run straightaway center field, 3-run jack, puts him up 4-2. And at that point, I said they're not winning. But then they came back. They scored 2 runs. Like I said, the 2 errors. You're like, all right, we showed some fight. Blue Jays bailed us out. And then the bottom of the 7th happens. They give up 3 more runs. And that's all she wrote. And last night, once again, everybody, fans are all over Anthony Volpe. All over Anthony Volpe because of 2 plays that he made or didn't make. Threw the ball to third base. Ended up being a wild throw. That allowed the runner from first base to advance to second. And then, again, same inning, he throws the ball to first base to try to get the out where he should have just ate it. Runner advances to third on that. And not everybody was happy with his answers after the game. And Volpe last night Well, this was today. Today he was 0 for 5. Last night, actually, he did get a hit last night. He picked up a double, but 2 more strikeouts. So in this series, he's 1 for 9. And he did hit the ball to deep center, which I was hoping was going to drop today, and the Yankees maybe would have taken the lead at that point. Because I've been wanting him to get a big hit so badly because I want to see this guy do good. And he just cannot get it done. He can't. And it's just getting worse and worse. And you really have to wonder, with all this outside noise and how his at-bats have been looking and now his fielding, you really got to wonder, from a mental aspect, this has got to be taking a toll on him. And he's younger than me. You know, like, having all this outside noise, like, how is he handling this? It's really got to be weighing on him. It's really got to be weighing on him. But it comes with the territory. That's what happens when you're playing shortstop for the New York Yankees. You're going to be put under a microscope. You know, Derek Jeter dealt with this. And then look at what happened with Didi when he first became the shortstop of the Yankees. Yankee fans were chanting for Derek Jeter. They're like, who is this guy? But you know what? He persevered through it, and he became a fan favorite. So he was able to overcome it. And for Volpe, he's going to have to do the same thing. He's going to have to do the same thing. Because Yankees are not going to replace him right now. And nor that they feel like they should. Because the fan base has a different opinion on Volpe as opposed to the manager and the front office. Their viewpoints are contradicting each other. The way the front office and Aaron Boone talks him up, you would think this guy is a really good player. And then the way the fan base talks about him, you would think he's the worst player in baseball. Or one of the worst players in baseball. He was overhyped. He was overhyped. He's not the player that we were promised. He's not. He's not. And I don't think he ever is going to be. And I don't like saying that because I really want this guy to succeed. But at some point, if this continues and we go into next year and you got George Lombard Jr. lurking, or if you have the ability to upgrade at the position elsewhere, you do it. The problem is the Yankees have a hard time moving off of players. And I think about this also. Last year, the Yankees were supposedly thinking of DFAing DJ LeMahieu. But Aaron Judge stepped in and said, no, supposedly, allegedly. How do you think Judge is going to feel? Because Judge is like Volpe's big brother on the team. He's the captain of the team. How do you think Judge is going to feel if, let's say, the Yankees at some point, maybe in the near future, think maybe you're not the guy? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying that, I'm just throwing that out there. But Volpe has not been good. The fielding is not good. The errors are really hurting this team. I mean, not just with him, but, I mean, these catcher's interferences. Aaron Boone pulled J.C. Escarra to the side last night and was talking to him about what happened. And I guess he didn't learn anything from it because he did the same thing today in a big spot. Not good. Not good. Not happy. Not happy. Like, I want to believe that this team is going to come out of it. I want to believe that. I want to believe that, yes, they go through this. Lately, it seems like every year now. But I want to believe that they could find a way to get through this, get to the other side, and start playing a better brand of baseball. I want to believe that. But like these past years, it is very hard to do that because they don't show you any signs of that happening. They really don't. And I went through this, okay? And I'm pretty sure if this is not correct, I apologize. But I looked up. Now the Yankees are, that AL East lead has really dwindled down. The Blue Jays are now one game back. The Rays, they're right there too. Rays right now actually are losing. As I'm recording this, the Rays are losing again. So it just seems like, well, actually, nope. They're tied now. Bottom of the 8th inning. So right now, if the Rays win, they'll be a half game back. The Blue Jays are one game back. Okay? This year, the Yankees are 10-14 against the AL East. Last year, they were 26-26. 2023, they were 22-30. That was 2023. 2022, 47-29. All right, so that was good. Although they went through their struggles. So, yeah, 47-29 in 2022. So, the combined record against the American League East between 2023 and 2025, they are 58-70 against the division, against the AL East. Is that good? No, that's not good. This team beats up on the Central. That's why they win their 90-plus games every year, because they just beat up on the Central. They've continued to do that this year. But when they play their own division, they struggle. They struggle. They've lost a series to the Orioles. The Red Sox have beat them up this year. The Blue Jays are about to win the series against them. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Blue Jays. Remember when I said the only way the Blue Jays are going to be in first place after this series is if they sweep the Yankees? That is definitely that's possible. That's possible. The way the Yankees have been playing. And then, the Rays, they took 3 out of 4 in Tampa. And then I think, I don't know, did they lose at the, or not in Tampa? Well, yeah, in Tampa. But did they lose that series in the Bronx? I'd have to go back and look. But either way, they're 10-14 against the American League East this season. 58-70 combined the last 3 years. Not good. Not good. And I know, once again, everyone's going to say, it's all on Boone, Aaron Boone this, Aaron Boone that. Ultimately, everybody, listen. Do I think Aaron Boone is the greatest manager ever? No, I don't. But we have to look at the bigger picture here. Aaron Boone doesn't put the roster together. If you have complaints over how this team is performing, you have to look upstairs. It's on who's upstairs. And I know fans already acknowledge that, but there are some that just continue to blame Aaron Boone. But he doesn't do himself any favors during his press conferences. But you know what? At this point, everybody, that's just Boone. That's just Boone. We're not going to get a guy that's going to get in front of the microphone and start screaming and yelling and throwing stuff. I mean, he did, slam his fist down on the desk during one of the press conferences. That was during 2022. But it's just, you're not going to get that. It's not happening. But you have to put more of the blame on the players and the front office. Because the players are just not getting it done. The players are not getting it done. Like Paul Goldschmidt had a couple of hits today. Maybe that's a good sign. And he had a nice leaping catch to rob a hit today. But he's been struggling. The young guys like Volpe. Actually, Jason Dominguez, has been hitting. Judge has got to pick it back up. What about Giancarlo Stanton? I'm getting nervous. Where's the power? Yeah, he hit the ball hard when he first came back, but where's the the lift on these balls? They're not, like, I want to see a home run, and he's striking out. And on a deep ball to center field, he doesn't tag up. I don't know what he was doing there, but we could also say, well, Stanton really can't run. Stan's not doing well. Volpe, I mean, we're not really getting any production out of the catching position. Austin Wells, waiting for him to come back, but he's just been kind of a mixed bag. Escara, Ben Rice, it's hard to get him in the lineup. I mean, they got to get him in the lineup more, but they got too many. They got a huge a bottleneck. I think that's what Michael Kay said. Bottleneck of a team right now, where you're trying to get everybody in, but you can't. And honestly, I mean, I want to see Jason Dominguez play more, but the problem is Trent Grisham has played well this season. That they platoon him. I want to see Jason Dominguez develop, and Jason Dominguez, even when they were down 12-4 in the ninth inning, right? They still got a run. Dominguez is hustling down the line, and he ended up being safe, so that extended the game a little bit. Dominguez got an RBI out of it. And then also in the first inning, a 2-run single. That was a big hit. And you were like, hopefully that sets the tone for the rest of this afternoon. Yankees win this game, get back on track. No. That didn't happen. Did not happen. It was also Canada Day for the Blue Jays. That's why the game started early and got pushed back a little bit because of the ceremony. A lot of red. It looked cool to be in the stadium. But yeah, the Blue Jays, they gave their fans something to be happy about with the win. But yeah, I mean, Dominguez gets a big hit there, and then Max Fried, gives the lead up. I couldn't believe it. 2 outs, and that kills me. Is giving up runs with 2 outs, especially when there's nobody on base. Single, walk, 3-run homer. Don't get it. Also, I apologize if the podcast has come out a little bit later. I figured since the game was on early today, I would just recap both games as one. Also, we ended up eating dinner late. So that's kind of why this is coming out later than it would usually. It usually would. Also, I brought this up, but so George Springer, 35 years old. We know him from his Astros days, his Blue Jays. He's been with the Blue Jays for a handful of years now. But going into the game, his career high in RBIs, I forget what the number was, but the last time he had most RBIs in a game for himself was, oddly enough, against the Yankees. So it might have been 5 or 6, whatever it was. So today he figured, you know what? Canada Day against the Yankees. Let me break that record today. So he hits a solo homer off from Max Fried. Later in the game, hits the grand slam off of Luke Weaver, and then tacks on a couple of more in the 8th inning. So he finished, ladies and gentlemen, he went 3 for 4, 2 runs scored, 7 RBIs, and a walk. And last year, he did not have a good season. Did not have a good season. His stats from last year, 220, batting average, 306 on base percentage, 371 slugging, and a 674 OPS. This year, 270 batting average, 367 on base, 486 slugging, and then an 853 OPS. He's having a good year. He's having a good year. Yankees actually kept Vlad Guerrero Jr. in check. He went 0 for 5. Alejandro Kirk went 0 for 4. But yet, Andres Gimenez come up big. George Springer, Ernie Clement had 2 RBIs. They got it done. They got it done for the Blue Jays. Offensively, Yankees are in trouble. They're in trouble. And if you look across the way, it's not looking so good in Queens either. Both New York teams are playing horrible baseball right now. Horrible. Who's going to win those games this weekend? I'll be honest. Yankee bias. This is a good wake-up call for the Mets. Because you know what, the Yankees, they struggle with runners in scoring position. They're also pitching bad too. Mets and Yankees are both pitching bad. The Mets pitching has gone south, partly because of injury, but also, guys like David Peterson are not pitching well as of late. But the Mets will wake up against the Yankees. They'll find a way. Yankees so far in this series against the Blue Jays, and we still got 2 more games. With runners in scoring position, they are 3 for 24. Today they were 2 for 17. 2 for 17 with runners in scoring position. 11 men left on base. Last night, 1 for 7. 7 guys left on base. They're not hitting, and they're not pitching. They're not playing the field well. How do you win games? How are you going to win games? When you can't hit with runners in scoring position, you can't close out games, and you can't field. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. But, look, you're probably saying, why are you even wearing a Yankee hat? The 4th of July is around the corner. And I am just hoping that they'll figure it out. And I'm a fan. Even when Springer hits the grand slam, my sister's telling me, turn this off. I'm like, no, I'm not turning it off. I'm going to keep watching this. Also partly because there's nothing on television to watch for me. I just finished. I got to find a new show to watch because there's a couple that I got to get to, but I just finished Severance. Finished that the other day, right before I canceled my Apple TV subscription, because the reason why I bought it, again, renewed the subscription, was because I wanted to watch the Yankees on Apple TV against the Dodgers. Another game that they ended up losing in the later innings. Oddly enough, when Max Fried pitched, hey, there you go, another connection from today's game to that game. Whatever. But that's why. So, finished Severance, at least the first 2 seasons. Now I got to get back on the saddle and see what else we can watch. But, having said that, it is July 1st. We have 3 months of baseball left. Will the real Yankees please stand up? Can they stand up? All right? If we continue this way through the rest of the year, then I guess these are the real Yankees. I don't believe that's true. The Yankees are going to get out of this. They will. All right? Find a way. They are not the team that hit all those home runs against the Brewers. They're not that. They are, again, I'm going to say it, they are in the middle. They're in the middle somewhere. Figure it out. I don't know. It's just frustrating. It's frustrating that this happens every year. But the other thing I wanted to bring up too is I really do believe this. This was mentioned today as well in again, one of the podcasts that I was watching. Um, Something changed with this team between 2017 to now. Because I honestly, I'm really starting to think, and I don't like thinking this. I don't want to think this way because we still got a long way to go. But I'm really starting to think that Aaron Judge will not win a World Series. I think that right now, and again, I get prisoner of the moment, but I really do think that his best chances of winning a World Series ring came between the years of 2017 to 2019. I really do believe that. Because I think those teams, the teams that we've had the last few years, those teams would beat these teams up. They would. Like I really do feel that way. Because you had the baby bombers, and Gleyber Torres first came up. Miguel Andujar was Rookie of the Year. We still had with Stanton. Well, Stanton was younger. Didi Gregorius, the years that we had with him. Judge obviously took off. The pitching obviously, like the pitching, I think now is better than what we had back then. But I think honestly, I think the lineups were better. The lineups were better. When those lineups were fully healthy, it's just I don't know. That's just me. But I really do think 2017 to 2019 was the window. The problem was there was one or two teams that were just better than the Yankees. The Astros were better both times. 2019, the Yankees were not at full strength in that series, and again, Yankee bias, but I do think that if Giancarlo Stanton and Luke Voit are playing that entire series, well, Luke Voit didn't play at all because he had the core muscle injury that kept him out for the whole year, and Luke Voit was on his way to being an all-star that year. I do think that if Luke Voit and Giancarlo Stanton are healthy for that series, I think the Yankees win that series. I really do believe that in 2019. 2017, look, you could say, oh, the Astros cheated. Listen, the reason why the Yankees did not win that series is not because of the trash cans. It's because they could not hit. They couldn't hit in Houston. And Gary Sanchez couldn't catch the ball in Game 2. But yeah, the Astros were better. And then, of course, sandwiched in between that, you had the 2018 Boston Red Sox, who were one of the greatest teams that I have ever seen in my lifetime, that we have ever seen in our lifetime. They won 100. Yankees won 100 games that year. That team won 108. And, the Red Sox went and played the Astros in the ALCS. Maybe the Yankees, if they were to advance, they probably would have lost the Astros anyways, and whatever. But those Yankee teams were very good. Maybe, again, the pitching might be better now than it was back then, but those were very good Yankee teams. Those Yankee teams did not go through, I think actually maybe 2017, but I have to go back and look. I don't recall those Yankee teams going through stretches like these Yankee teams right now. Something changed during the COVID season. The COVID season, since that point, these teams, they get off to these good starts, they fall flat. Some of them don't make the playoffs at all, 2023. Or 2021, they're just up and down, and then they get knocked out in the wild card round. I don't know what it is. They have seasons within seasons. Good, bad. It's because 2019, everybody got hurt. That team still won over 100 games. Next man up. It didn't matter. They just kept winning. We loved it. But you know what? That flame has burnt out. It's not next man up. The next men up that they come up, they stink. Some of these guys. These guys they bring up from AAA, they can't get it done. They can't get it done. This guy Winans comes in, he pitches, he can't get it done. Today, I mean, JT Brubaker. I don't know. I keep saying I don't know. How many times have I said that? It's not fun right now, everybody. But we just got to continue to weather this storm and hopefully something changes. I don't know how. But it just doesn't help when, again, we don't know what happens behind closed doors, but it does not help when on the surface you watch these interviews at the end of the game and it just looks like it doesn't bother them. That frustrates people. Like throw us a little bit of a bone. I mean, well, for some people, they would hope for that. I know they care. We like to overanalyze things like, Judge is smiling too much. They're smiling in the dugout when they're losing by 10 runs. Not saying that happened today, but I'm just saying, random example. These guys do care. But when it looks like you don't care, that bothers us. When Anthony Volpe gives the responses that he did last night after making 2 bad plays on the field, that bothers people. But like I said before, that's what happens. You're under a microscope when you play in this market. And unfortunately, I do agree with some people in this market, in the media, that say the Yankees play bully ball. They beat up on bad teams. Actually, they don't really do well against anybody right now. But, they do beat up on the Central. That's really what that means. They beat up on the Central. They beat up on the AL Central. They beat up on the Brewers. Everybody's like, oh, my God, they're using these torpedo bats. They're cheating. No. They were just going up against a team whose pitching staff was injured galore. That's what that was. And we all said it. I said it. I know I did. I said, let's see now they play a pitching staff that's good. Look what happens. That's what they are. That's what they could be. But you know what? This team's going to get into the playoffs one way or another. And if they don't, I'm sorry, clean house. If this continues, if they end up missing the playoffs somehow this year after getting off to this hot start, because look, 2022 started off fast, looked like they were going to shatter the franchise win total, and then they fell apart, but they still made it. They got to the ALCS. We knew they weren't beating the Astros. They got beat up. Whatever. Last year, get off to a good start. Had a terrible summer, but, they got Jazz Chisholm, and then they corrected themselves, got to the World Series. And then, 2023, got off to a good start. Judge makes a great play, running into the wall at Dodger Stadium. He ends up getting hurt on the IL. That played a huge role in the Yankees not making the playoffs. But still, fast start, slow finish, missed the playoffs, and now here we are. Fast start, they have slowed down. Who knows? To be determined. But if this ends up being like 2023, where they missed the playoffs, there needs to be change. There needs to be change. But will there be change if that does happen? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But history would probably tell you no. Because I think 2023, that was the year to make changes. Didn't make the playoffs. Worst season in a long time. Despite finishing over 500 again. That was the year to do it. But then what happened? They made it to the World Series. So now it's like, all right, well, we bought ourselves more time. There has to be a change in philosophy. And how many times have you heard Yankee fans say that? Change in philosophy. They're not going to change. Because, yeah, like, clean house, whatever. But we know that they get rid of Aaron Boone, let's say, they're going to bring in someone that's going to manage the team the same way. And I find it laughable when you have Yankee fans on social media suggesting, we want Joe Girardi back. Do people not remember everybody wanted Joe Girardi gone for years? Now because we have Aaron Boone and what he's doing, oh, now we got to get Girardi back. Beg for his job. We need him. It's not happening. Like, I say if they miss the playoffs, clean house. It would not all be on Boone, but like you got to do something if you miss the playoffs. You have to. But we're not there yet. So I said a lot, went longer than I was hoping went longer than I thought I would. But that's what happens. This team has me on the edge right now. Not on the edge of glory. No. On the edge of misery. That's where we're at. So, and usually I'm pretty calm. I'm pretty, relaxed. Not tonight. Because today's loss was not good. When is a loss ever good? Today's loss was, I don't know. It was just it was words. It was every expletive you could think of that I won't say because it's frustrating. It's frustrating because you hope this team finds a way to get out of it, and it's another day that goes by where you say, well, not today, maybe tomorrow. Maybe Thursday, maybe Friday, maybe Saturday, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah. Nope. Not today, at least. But tomorrow is a new day, ladies and gentlemen. So maybe tomorrow Volpe will come up in a big spot and get a hit. Maybe Judge will hit 3 homers. Maybe Jazz has been awesome. All right, shout out to Jazz Chisholm. Shout out to Cody Bellinger. All right, these guys, they're the 2 best hitters in the lineup right now. Judge, not going to get on you. But, Judge has been struggling a little bit. But, yeah. All right, but Judge, Jazz, and Bellinger, everybody else, can you step up, please? We'll throw Dominguez in there, too. I'm sorry. Dominguez got a couple of... got the big hit to get us started. Big G, we need you, man. Got to get it going. Goldschmidt, 2 hits today. Let's build off of that. Insert catcher here, whoever it is. Let's, not cause catcher's interferences. Let's get hits. Volpe. Come on. You could do this. You got this, man. I believe in you. Because right now, a lot of Yankee fans don't. So, I'm hoping things change, man. It's just so frustrating. Like, I'm not asking the Yankees to just go out there and win, 20 games in a row. I mean, that'd be something. But can you just get out of this? Like, just go on a little bit. Go on like a 5-game winning streak. Then you lose a couple. Then you win a couple. Do something like that. But also just do the simple things. Like the other thing too, I'm sorry, Jazz bunting. At first you're like, all right, he bunted the runner, but Jazz has been one of the best hitters in the lineup. Why are you bunting? We need runs, not sacrifices. I mean, I guess he was trying to bunt for a hit, and it didn't work. But Jazz, you could put the ball in the seats. You've been doing that constantly. You've been on a tear, and you're bunting. But you know what? Give him credit. Some credit. He actually placed the bunt that moved the runner over, that kind of did something. Whereas other guys, they go to bunt. They either don't know how to bunt, or they bunted foul. All right, that's it. So if you listen to this, if you watch the whole thing, I appreciate it. Please support this channel. If you're a nice person. No, I'm just kidding. Support the channel by liking the videos, commenting on the videos, and subscribing to the channel. Also, follow us on the main social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, X. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, mainly Spotify. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys listening. We're trying to continue this thing, build this thing up. And I know maybe some of you are getting sick of the Yankee videos. Rest assured, there will be football and basketball videos on the way. They will happen, okay? All right? We are a couple of months away from football. So when football comes back, there's going to be a lot of football. Lots of football. So get ready for that. A lot of basketball news. A lot of free agency moves, trades, and free agent signings. Still waiting on the Knicks' new coach. We'll see what happens there. But there'll be other things on the way. So look out for another recap video tomorrow. There'll be another one on Friday, I think, before the Subway Series. We'll do a Subway Series preview. And yeah. So, as always, everybody, better days are ahead. Be patient. If not, I understand. I'm going to continue to be patient. Be patient till September 30th when the season's over and they miss the playoffs. No, that's not going to happen. But hopefully not. But just better days are ahead. As always, I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder, signing off. Have a good one, everybody. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Hopefully the Yankees win. Take care.